The year was 2387. Captain James Walker stood on the bridge of the United Earthship Phoenix, staring at the transmission that had just arrived. The message was simple but devastating. The Galactic Council had made their decision. Earth's membership application has been rejected. Your species is deemed too primitive and violent for inclusion in civilized galactic society. For 50 years, humanity had worked toward this moment. They had discovered faster-than-light travel on their own. They had established colonies on 12 worlds. They had even developed universal translators to communicate with the alien races they had encountered. But none of it mattered. The council representative, a tall being called VOR, appeared on the main screen. His blue skin shimmered as he spoke. Through the translator, the decision is final. Earth and all human colonies are hereby declared outside council protection. You are on your own. Walker's first officer, Lieutenant Maria Santos, clenched her fists. They can't just abandon us like this. We've done everything they asked. But VOR continued, his voice cold and distant. Furthermore, any species currently under council protection is forbidden from trading or communicating with humans. This quarantine is effective immediately. The transmission ended. The bridge fell silent. Through the windows, the stars that had once promised infinite possibilities now seemed cold and hostile. Earth was alone in a galaxy that had turned its back on them. 3 months passed. Human colonies struggled without access to galactic trade routes. Medical supplies ran low. Advanced technology that humans had hoped to acquire remained out of reach. But humanity did what it had always done. They adapted. They survived. A grew stronger dot, then came the distress signal dot. It originated from a small planet called Kepler 442b, just beyond human space. The message was weak but clear. Please ... anyone. We need help. The Council has abandoned us. Our children are dying. Please ... Walker listened to the message in his ready room. Santos stood beside him, her face grim. Captain, that's a Doron. Colony. They're council members. We're forbidden from making contact. Are we? Walker asked, turning to face her. The council abandoned us. They said we're on our own. That means their rules don't apply to us anymore. But if we help them, the council might what? Abandon us more? Walker stood up, his decision made. Prep the ship. We're going to help them. The Phoenix arrived at Kepler 442b 12 hours later. The scene was worse than they had imagined. A plague had struck the Doron colony. Their medical facilities were overwhelmed. Bodies lined the streets of their small settlement. The colony administrator, a Doron named Tam, met them at the landing pad. His gray fur was matted with sweat, and his large eyes were filled with desperation. You came, but you're humans. The council said, the council isn't here, Walker interrupted. We are. Our medical team is ready. Show us you're sick. For 3 weeks, human doctors and scientists worked around the clock. They shared their medical knowledge freely. They synthesized new medicines using their limited resources. They saved lives that the council had written off as acceptable losses. Dr. Robert Chun, the ship's chief medical officer, worked himself to exhaustion. When Tam asked him why humans would risk everything to help strangers, Chun simply replied, because it's the right thing to do. That's what makes us human. Word spread quickly through the galaxy's abandoned worlds. The humans, rejected and scorned by the council, had answered a call for help. They had asked for nothing in return. They had simply helped because help was needed. More distress signals began to arrive. Colonies hit by natural disasters. Mining. Stations with failing life support. Research outposts under attack by pirates. Each time, human ships responded. Each time, They helped without asking for payment or allegiance. The Council watched from their crystal towers on the capital world of Prima. They had expected humanity to fail, to serve as an example to other primitive species. Instead, humanity was building something new. Not an empire based on power or technology, but a coalition based on mutual aid and respect. On Earth, the United Governments made a historic decision. If the galaxy would not accept them, they would create their own path. They would be the shield for the abandoned. They would be the hope for the forgotten. The age of humanity's isolation had ended. The age of humanity's true purpose had just begun. 6 months had passed since the Phoenix had answered that first distress call. Captain Walker now commanded not just one ship, but a small fleet of human vessels that patrolled the borders of abandoned space. They had become known throughout the Outer Rim as the Earth Guard, protectors of those the Council had forgotten. The latest crisis came from a mining colony on Sigma Draconis IV. The transmission was garbled, but the panic in the voice was clear. Raiders ... hundreds of them ... Council won't send help. Please, if anyone hears this. Walker stood in the command center of the newly constructed Earth Station Alpha, humanity's first deep space outpost built specifically to coordinate rescue operations. Around him, officers tracked dozens of distress signals from across the abandoned sectors. That's the third raid this month, reported Commander Lisa Park, the station's tactical officer. The Council's withdrawal has created a power vacuum. Pirates and raiders are taking advantage. Walker nodded grimly. The Galactic Council maintained peace in their protected sectors through their massive fleet, but they ignored everything outside their borders. The abandoned worlds were easy prey for those who sought to exploit the weak. How many ships can we send? Walker asked. 3 destroyers and the medical frigate Hope, Park replied. But Captain, the raiders have at least 20 vessels. We'll be outnumbered. We always are, Walker said with a slight smile. But we have something they don't expect. Send word to our allies. Over the past months, humanity had done more than just respond to emergencies. They had been building relationships. The Dorans, saved from plague, had shared their advanced shield technology. The Kreks, rescued from a volcanic eruption, had provided expertise in energy weapons. The Threll, protected from raiders, had offered their skills in ship construction. Species the humans had helped had contributed something in return, not because they were asked to, but because they wanted to. A coalition was forming, not through force or politics, but through gratitude and mutual respect. The battle at Sigma Draconis IV would be the coalition's first real test. The human fleet arrived to find the mining colony under siege. 23 raider ships, a mix of converted freighters and stolen military vessels, surrounded the planet. They were systematically destroying the colony's defenses, while shuttles loaded with stolen resources fled toward their mothership. Incoming transmission. From the lead raider ship, announced the communications officer. A scarred face appeared on the screen. The raider captain was a Vornak, a species known for their aggression. Turn back, humans. This is not your concern. The Council has abandoned these people, and so should you. Walker stepped forward. That's where you're wrong. The Council's abandonment is exactly why this is our concern. You have one chance. Leave now, and we won't pursue you. The Vornak laughed. 3 ships against 23? You humans are more foolish than the Council said. Prepare to be destroyed. The transmission cut off. Walker turned to his crew. Signal our allies. It's time. Space around the raider fleet suddenly erupted with activity. 12 ships dropped out of hyperspace. Doran vessels with their advanced shields, Kreks warships with their powerful weapons, and Threll interceptors with their incredible speed. The coalition had answered humanity's call. The battle was fierce, but brief. The raiders, used to attacking defenseless colonies, were unprepared for organized resistance. The Doran shields protected the coalition ships from the initial barrage. The Krek's weapons punched through raider armor with ease. The Threll interceptors outmaneuvered and confused the enemy formation. And at the center of it all, the human ships coordinated the assault with a precision that surprised everyone. Humans might have been new to galactic warfare, but they had centuries of tactical experience that they adapted quickly to space combat. 15 raider ships were disabled or destroyed. The remaining 8 fled into hyperspace, their captain broadcasting warnings to other raiders about the human coalition. On the surface of Sigma Draconis IV, the miners emerged from their shelters. They were Yathi, a reptilian species that the Council had abandoned 50 years ago for being economically unviable. Their leader, an elderly Yathi named Grek, personally thanked Walker. "The Council told us we were worthless," Grek said, his voice heavy with emotion. "You showed us we still have value. How can we repay this?" "Join us," Walker replied simply. "Help us protect others who need it. Together, we're stronger than alone." The Yathi agreed immediately. They brought with them expertise in resource extraction and processing skills that would prove invaluable in maintaining the growing coalition fleet. News of the battle spread quickly. More abandoned worlds reached out, some asking for help, others offering to join the coalition. The Galactic Council observed these developments with growing concern. Asterisk. In the crystal towers of Prima, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. The massive chamber, built to accommodate representatives from 200 species, hummed with nervous energy. At the center, Supreme Counselor Zix, an ancient being of pure energy, materialized before the assembly. "The human situation has become complicated," Zix announced, his voice resonating through the minds of all present. "Their coalition grows stronger each day. 17 species have now joined them, all from the abandoned sectors. VOR, the blue-skinned representative who had delivered humanity's rejection, stood to address the Council. This is unprecedented. The humans are not conquering these worlds. They're helping them, building partnerships, creating something new." "Something dangerous," interrupted Rex, the military advisor from the warrior species known as the Zoltan. "They're organizing the abandoned sectors, creating a power base outside our control. This coalition could become a threat to Council authority." The debate continued for hours. Some members argued that humanity's actions proved they had been wrong to reject them. Others insisted that this only confirmed humanity's dangerous nature. Their refusal to accept the Council's judgment showed a lack of respect for galactic law. Meanwhile, light years away on Earth Station Alpha, Captain Walker received an unexpected visitor. Ambassador Thomas Mitchell, Earth's former representative to the Council, had returned from Prima with disturbing news. "They're scared," Mitchell told the assembled coalition leaders. The Council never expected this. For thousands of years, they've maintained power by controlling who gets protection and who doesn't. "You're showing the galaxy that there's another way." A Doron engineer named Dal spoke up. "What will they do? Attack us?" "They're considering it," Mitchell admitted. "But they have a problem. If they attack you for helping abandoned worlds, they reveal themselves as tyrants. Their moral authority collapses." Walker studied the star map showing coalition territory. It was still small compared to Council space, but it was growing. Every week, another abandoned colony joined them. Every successful rescue mission brought more allies. "Let them come," said Captain Eva Martinez, commanding officer of the destroyer Resilience. "We've faced worse odds." But Walker was thinking beyond military confrontation. "No, we need to be smarter than that. The Council rules through fear and exclusion. We'll lead through hope and inclusion." He turned to the coalition representatives. I propose we make a formal declaration, not of war, but of purpose. We tell the galaxy exactly what we stand for. The next day, a transmission was broadcast across all galactic frequencies. It wasn't encrypted or hidden. It was meant for everyone to hear. Walker stood before the camera, flanked by representatives from every coalition species. His voice was calm but firm. To all beings in the galaxy, abandoned or protected, we make this declaration. The coalition of free worlds stands ready to help any who need it. We ask for no payment, no allegiance, no submission. We offer aid, protection, and partnership to all who seek it. The Galactic Council claims to represent civilization, but they abandon those they deem unworthy. We reject this. Every species has value. Every life matters. If you are in danger, call us. If you are hungry, we will share our food. If you are under attack, we will stand beside you. We do not seek conflict with the Council, but we will not abandon our principles. We will not turn away from those in need. This is our promise. To the galaxy. The transmission ended, but its impact had just begun. On Council worlds, citizens who had never questioned their government's decisions began to ask uncomfortable questions. Why were some species abandoned? Who decided what made a civilization worthy? On Prima, Supreme Counselor Zix watched the transmission. With what might have been concern, if beings of pure energy could feel such things. They're not trying to destroy us, he said to his advisors. They're trying to replace us. Then we must act, Rex insisted. A show of force. Remind the galaxy why the Council maintains order. But Counselor Era, a telepath from the peaceful silent species, disagreed. If we attack them for helping others, we prove their point. We become the villains in this story. The Council was paralyzed by indecision. They had ruled for so long through strength and authority that they had forgotten how to respond to moral challenge. Meanwhile, the coalition continued its work. A food shortage on Proxima Station. Human agricultural ships responded. A reactor meltdown on the Krex colony. Threll engineers provided assistance. Pirates attacking a Yathi transport. Doron shields protected them. Each act of kindness was a small rebellion against the Council's order. Each life saved was a vote for a different future. Asterisk. The message that changed everything came from an unexpected source. Deep within Council space, on the prosperous world of Nexus Prime, a disaster was unfolding. A terraforming experiment had gone catastrophically wrong. The planet's atmosphere was turning toxic. 3 billion citizens, all Council, members in good standing, were dying. The Council's emergency response fleet was 3 days away. By then, it would be too late. In desperation, a young Nexus communications officer named Kara broke protocol. She sent a message on the frequency the Coalition used. This is Nexus Prime. We know we're Council members. We know you have no obligation to help us. But our children are dying. Please, if you truly mean what you said about every life may TTERING ... please help us. The message reached Earth Station Alpha in the middle of a strategy meeting. The room fell silent as they listened to Kara's desperate plea. Everyone looked to Walker. Commander. Park was the first to speak. Captain, this could be a trap. The Council might be testing us. Or it could be 3 billion people who need our help, Walker replied. He turned to Mitchell. What's your read on this? Mitchell pulled up data on Nexus Prime. It's real. The terraforming disaster is all over Council emergency channels. They're trying to mobilize help, but their fleet is scattered across their territory. They won't make it in time. A Krex warrior named Tor growled. These are Council citizens. They chose to abandon us. Why should we save them? Because that's what makes us different, said Dal, the Doran engineer. We don't help people because of who they are. We help because they need it. Walker made his decision. Prepare every ship with atmospheric processors. Load all available. Medical supplies. We leave in 1 hour. Captain, Park warned, we'll be entering Council space uninvited. They could see this as an invasion. Then they'll have to shoot us down while we're saving their citizens, Walker replied. Let's see them explain that to the galaxy. The Coalition fleet, 37 ships from 8 different species, jumped to hyperspace. They emerged. In Council space to find chaos. Nexus Prime was dying. The planet's surface was obscured by toxic clouds. Orbital stations were overwhelmed with evacuees. Council patrol ships moved to intercept the Coalition fleet, then hesitated, unsure of their orders. Walker broadcast on all frequencies. This is Captain Walker of the Coalition fleet. We're here to help. Stand aside or assist us, but don't get in our way. Every second costs lives. For a moment, the galaxy held its breath. Then, the commander of the Council patrol, a veteran officer, named Hadren, made a choice that would be remembered in history. Coalition fleet, this is Patrol Group 7. We're transmitting landing coordinates for the worst-hit areas. How can we assist? Together, Council and Coalition ships descended to the toxic atmosphere. Human atmospheric processors worked alongside Council technology. Doron shields protected evacuation ships. Krex warriors carried children to safety. Threll medics treated the injured without asking about their allegiance. On the surface, Walker worked alongside Council soldiers to evacuate a hospital. A young Council citizen, barely conscious from the toxic exposure, grabbed Walker's hand. You came ... but we abandoned you ... That was yesterday, Walker replied, carrying her to safety. Today, you need help. The rescue operation lasted 72 hours. Working together, the Coalition and Council forces saved 2.7 billion lives. The remaining 300 million were beyond anyone's ability to save, but without the Coalition's intervention, the entire planet would have been lost. In the aftermath, Supreme Counselor Zix himself came to Nexus Prime. He stood before Walker and the Coalition representatives in the ruins of what had been a beautiful city. You entered our space without permission, Zix said. You violated our sovereignty. You ignored our laws. Yes, Walker replied simply. And you saved billions of our citizens when we couldn't, Zix continued. Why? Because they needed help, Walker said. That's all the reason we needed. Zix was silent for a long moment, his energy form flickering with what might have been. Emotion. The Council will need to discuss this. Your actions have ... complicated things. As the Coalition fleet prepared to leave, something unexpected happened. Citizens of Nexus Prime, many still recovering from their ordeal, gathered to see them off. They held signs saying thank you in a dozen languages. Children drew pictures of human ships as angels. Veterans saluted. The Council could no longer paint humanity and their Coalition as a threat. The galaxy had seen the truth, that those abandoned by the Council had risen to save those the Council couldn't protect. Asterisk. 1 year after the Nexus Prime rescue, the galaxy had transformed beyond recognition. The Coalition now included 43 species and controlled a third of known space, not through conquest, but through voluntary membership. Earth Station. Alpha had grown into a massive complex, serving as the unofficial capital of free space. Captain Walker, now Admiral Walker, stood before the first Coalition assembly. Representatives from every member species filled the Great Hall, a structure built with technology and artistry from all their cultures combined. Today marks something unprecedented, Walker began. We're not here to form another council, another hierarchy of worthy and unworthy. We're here to formalize what we've already built, a partnership based on mutual aid and respect. The Coalition. Charter was simple but revolutionary. Every member species had equal voice. Resources were shared based on need, not power. Defense was collective. An attack on one was an attack on all. And most importantly, membership was open to any species that agreed to help others in return. On Prima, the Galactic Council watched these proceedings with a mixture of concern and admiration. The emergency session had been ongoing for 3 days. They're not going away, VOR admitted to the Assembly. The coalition is stable, growing, and popular. Several of our own member species have requested observer status with them. Supreme Counselor Zix had spent months analyzing the situation. We face a choice. We can try to destroy them, which would likely fail and certainly destroy our moral authority. Or ... Or, Rex prompted. Or we adapt. Learn from them. Reform ourselves, Zix completed. The debate was fierce. Traditional members argued that the council system had maintained peace for millennia. Progressive members pointed out that it had also condemned billions to suffering outside their borders. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Kara, the young communications officer from Nexus Prime who had first called for coalition help, was invited to address the council. She had become a symbol of the disaster and rescue. Distinguished counselors, she began, her voice steady despite standing before the galaxy's most powerful beings. I've seen both systems. The council offers order and protection, but only for some. The coalition offers hope and help, but for everyone. Why must we choose? Why can't both exist? Her words sparked a new discussion. What if the galaxy didn't need one supreme authority? What if different systems could coexist, even cooperate? Back on Earth Station Alpha, Admiral Walker received an unprecedented message. Supreme Counselor Zix was requesting a personal meeting. Not a formal summit, not a negotiation, just a conversation. They met on neutral ground, an ancient space station that predated both their civilizations. Zix appeared in a smaller, more personal form of energy. Walker came alone, against the advice of his security team. Your species confuses me, Zix began. You were rejected, humiliated, abandoned. Yet you responded with compassion. Why? Walker thought for a moment. There's an old Earth saying, the best revenge is a life well lived. We could have become bitter, violent, everything you accused us of being. Instead, we chose to become what the galaxy needed. And in doing so, you've changed everything. Zix acknowledged, the Council cannot continue as it was. Your coalition has shown our citizens another way. Some want to fight you. Others want to join you. Most just want peace. Then let's give them that, Walker suggested. 2 systems, working. In parallel, the Council maintains order in core space. The Coalition provides aid and protection in the frontier. Where our territories meet, we cooperate. Separate but equal? Zix questioned. Different but complementary, Walker corrected. Your strength and our flexibility. Your resources and our innovation. Together, we can protect and serve the entire galaxy. The negotiations took months, but eventually, the Treaty of Coexistence was signed. The galaxy would have 2 major powers, committed to peace with each other and service to all species. 5 years later, Admiral Walker retired, returning to Earth for the first time since humanity's rejection. He stood before the United Earth Assembly, delivering his final report. We were abandoned by the galaxy, told we were too primitive and violent to join civilized society. Today, half the galaxy follows our model of civilization. We didn't conquer them. We didn't force them. We simply showed them that strength isn't measured in weapons or technology, but in the willingness to help others. Earth rose when the galaxy needed us most, not as conquerors, but as protectors, not as rulers, but as partners. We turned abandonment into opportunity, Isolation into innovation, rejection into redemption. The galaxy didn't abandon us. It gave us the freedom to become something better. And in doing so, we didn't just save ourselves. We saved them all. The assembly erupted in applause. Outside, the night sky was full of stars, each one now a potential friend rather than a distant stranger. Humanity had found its place in the galaxy, not as subjects or rulers, but as the bridge between worlds, the defenders of the fallen, the hope of the abandoned. The story of Earth's rise was complete, but the saga of the coalition had just begun. Asterisk.